100,000 years, let's say 5,000 years. 200 years ago, the concept of being employed and going to a job or being unemployed were unknown concepts. Those concepts simply didn't exist in people's mind. You went out and toiled on the land, or were a serf, or were part of the nobility. There was no concept of unemployment. And then the Industrial Revolution came along. Factories. Factories that were dark, hot, dangerous, and they needed workers for those factories in urban areas. And to do that, they had to change what was inside people's brains about the freedom to work the earth or the freedom to act. And they actually had in England something called gin carts. They used to push these gin carts up and down the aisle and basically keep the workers drunk all day so that they didn't just get up and walk out. That went on for a couple of generations, and they finally got people to be compliant. And then, I'm oversimplifying here, with all due respect to academia, the businesses decided that we needed a school system. We needed a school system because the workers were still a bit unruly, and if we could just teach them in their early years how to line up alphabetically and follow the rules and fill in the blanks, that when they got to corporations, they would be even easier to manage, and we wouldn't need these gin carts up and down the aisle. Well, since you've been in school, really since the end of the 1990s, and since you've been in school, the entire world has changed. The jobs that your parents, your grandparents had, those safe, secure jobs where you could go to work every day, follow the rules, do 9 to 5, 9 to 7, work overtime, retire with a nice pension, and all that sort of stuff, those jobs are gone. General Motors has failed. Those jobs don't exist anymore. The world is flat. I'm compressing a lot in a very short time here. But one of the things that happened, I'll go back 20 years. I had a cell phone 20 years ago. My monthly bill was between $2,000 and $3,000, which seemed like a lot of money. But I eliminated an entire level of management because I no longer needed anybody to take my directives and my initiatives and my ideas and pass them along to other people. I did not need a layer of middle managers. I had 3 secretaries. Those jobs don't exist. So God bless you if you can get a job making widgets with a strong union and somehow manage to get through your generation and still have that employment. But that's not how the world works today. The world today belongs to guys like Jerry Weintraub. He's an older guy, but I read a lot. Learn to earn, read to succeed. You might want to mention that. I read about 50 books a year. Jerry Weintraub is in his 80s. But in 1962, at age 25, he decided that he wanted to take Elvis Presley on tour. Elvis Presley then was the biggest name in show business. Jerry Weintraub, by the way, has promoted artists and entertainers such as Frank Sinatra, Bob Dylan, Elton John, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin. He co-produced 22 movies. He did the Ocean's 11 trilogy that grossed over $1.1 billion. But this is a scrappy, Brooklyn-born, Bronx-raised guy who decides that he's going to make something of his life. So he calls Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis Presley's agent, every day for a month, saying, I want to take Elvis on tour. Again, this is when Elvis was the Lady Gaga of the 1960s. Finally, one day, Colonel Tom Parker calls him back. He says, Jerry, okay, you still want to take my boy on tour? Jerry says, absolutely. He said, well then meet me at the Hilton International Hotel in Las Vegas tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with $1 million and we'll talk about it. $1 million was a hell of a lot of money even back in 1962. Jerry Weintraub manages to raise $1 million in 24 hours. By the way, don't anybody in this room ever think that money is an obstacle to you owning your own bar, your own brewery, practicing your own art. There is more money sloshing around in the world than you can imagine. It's the person with the story that's able to attract it. Jerry Weintraub shows up at the International Hotel and seals the deal and talks to Elvis. And Elvis says, this is great. When he shows up with $1 million, he says, I only ask 2 things of you, Jerry. One is, I never want to see an empty seat when I play and perform. And second, I want my people in the front row, not all the big shots. Jerry says, okay. He books the concert for July 4th in Miami, Florida. He arrives in Miami, Florida. As he describes it, it's 6 million degrees. It's a swamp here. Nobody's here and nobody should be. The show is undersold by 5,000 seats. He's got $1 million on the line. He's tossing and turning all night. Wakes up the next morning goes right to the sheriff's department, bribes the sheriff to get all the prisoners in their orange jumpsuits to go to the theater, to unscrew 5,000 seats, pile them up in the parking lot, cover them with one of those big blue plastic tarps, and then Elvis shows up for the matinee, sold-out house, he performs. Between shows, he has prisoners come back, pull off the tarp, screw all the chairs back in because the evening show actually sold out. At the end of the show at the Fontainebleau Hotel, Elvis said, you know, it's always interesting. You know, the matinee shows are fun, but those evening shows always have so much more energy. The blue tarp lesson here is the world belongs to originality and resourcefulness, not following the rules. The enemy of excellence and the enemy of courage these days is not cowardice, it's conformity. And for those who are looking for a safe, secure future following the rules, it's not there. Now, here's the hard message. The hard message is you will fail over and over again because what we're talking about is originality. We're not talking about, and when you say following the rules, it means challenging the status quo. And if you want to be indispensable to a company, any company, whether it's Flying Dog Brewery or anything that you're doing or in your life, you have to be willing to break the rules. Not just when it's safe and convenient, but even when there are consequences, over and over again. And by that I mean challenging the status quo. There's something called the Abilene paradox. And this goes back to a writer from the 70s. A family's in Kansas City, and somehow they say, wouldn't it be nice to go to Abilene and have this great chicken dinner? There's a great diner in Abilene that serves chicken dinners. Well, the whole family says, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get in the car and we drive all the way across the hot plains of Kansas. I just drove from Denver to Frederick. I had to bring some stuff out here. There's nothing. It's hot. It's sweaty. There's no air conditioning. They arrive in Abilene, Kansas. It's just miserable. They all get back home and go, why did we do that? And they said, well, I thought you wanted to do that, Joe. No, I thought you wanted to do that, Mom. No, I thought you wanted to do that. Well, nobody wanted to do it. But as soon as one person said, why did we want to do that? They all said, why are we doing this? That's the Abilene paradox, that groups tend to talk themselves into something or are convinced that survival is enough. If we just follow the status quo, the world will be all right. Well, the world belongs to people who challenge the status quo, who challenge the status quo when it doesn't seem to make sense, who throw up their hands and go, why are we doing this? Now, there's 3 points I want to hit on. The first is quitting. That's quitting stuff that's not working for you, as well as quitting the right thing at the right time. The second is fear and resistance, and the third is genius and failure. As soon as I say the word genius, some people in this room are thinking, okay, you're way over my head, this doesn't apply to me. It does. First of all, your genius is for even getting into college and being here, but genius is nothing more than original thinking. The first thing I want to mention is quitting. Key to success in life is quitting. The key to success in life is quitting. It means both quitting stuff so that you can focus on your passion, which means A, you have to have something you're passionate about. Again, whether it's beer and brewing, or whether it's making it to the top of the corporate world, or being the jeweler who is putting her or his art out there to the public. Now, here's the thing about quitting. You have to be prepared before you start anything to see it all the way through. For example, snowboarding. Everybody likes the concept of snowboarding. You're going to look really cool out there. I mean, cool. You're going to look good. You're going to attract the hot guys or the hot chicks. But if you're not prepared to go through 3 days of hell, do not start snowboarding. And do not stop on day 2. So on day 1, you will be sore. Snowboarders here? Anybody? You will be more sore than you could ever imagine. I'm talking knees and tailbone. You will fall on your knees and tailbone 20 times, 50 times. It's painful. So a lot of people quit after day 1. Or they quit after day 2 when you're really sore. But by day 3, you're actually snowboarding. Now, the mature thing to do is never to start snowboarding in the first place, if that is not your passion. And the reasons for having a passion, we don't want to go into those, but it's everything from I want to prove it